Fantastic. So, hello, people. Welcome. I'll just double check it's working because I never trust my technology, especially at the moment. I don't know where you are, Alan, but it's been really windy and rainy here, and I find that when it's almost storm-like. When it's like that here, it often affects my internet for some reason.
Well, I'm not too far from you, but because you're up on the downs, seem to get it worse than me.
Yeah, we get weird mist. When I first moved here, I remember getting the bus back from the station one evening and just watching the mist rolling over the downs, and it looked like something from American Werewolf in London. It was this horrendous, like when they're trapped out at the local pub at the start of the film. It was like that, and it was just fascinating watching what looked like mist moving almost like it shouldn't do, like it was some sort of visual effect. Yeah, I've wondered where I'd moved to. There you go. Anyway, welcome everyone. We're not going to talk about the scary area I live in. What I want to do today is maybe a little bit different, and I'm sure you'll see from the title and the thumbnail, we're going to talk about a particular guitar, a Gibson guitar, one from Mark's collection. I've got a little bit of information about the history of it. Mark's got the actual guitar, so he can tell us about playing it. We can all talk about design connected to it. But before that, I mentioned last week that this is our year anniversary of this channel, the Guitar Builders Collective chat channel. But we were doing it the 2 years before then, doing a weekly live stream. To help sort of celebrate the anniversary, it made me think that maybe we should promote some of those archives that we put up. Essentially, we had about 80 interviews with different guitar builders that I ported over from my channel onto this channel. When I did that, I didn't put a huge amount of effort into promoting it. I just put them up 2 or 3 a week. And what it meant is that some of them haven't got many views at all, but they had much more views over on my channel. But that's all gone now. And being that we're getting more people on our live stream, hello everyone on the live stream, welcome. As we're having more people watching, I thought let's go back and change the thumbnails a bit, make them a bit more exciting. And I've contacted I'm working my way through it, most of the guests to ask them if they would help share it. And what I'm encouraging anyone watching to do is, if you don't mind, when you get a moment, go back over our archive, just click on our videos, go back through, see if there's any there that take your fancy. That maybe there's this guy gets it. That's Owen. That was Owen's first proper appearance, really. But maybe there's something there that appeals to you. We've got people like Ben from Marstronic talking about components that go into a guitar. We've got Maynard from Madsen Amps talking about his amp building and his background as an astrophysicist and how that connects together. Fascinating. And of course, we've got Paul from Mild House Studios. If you've watched his most recent video, he gave a little shout out to us, so I decided to give one back to him. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, he's been on it a couple of times. He was on when we had Yard Guitars on as well, James on. And that was really fascinating, having two people that work together or live near each other and sort of bounce ideas off each other, talking to each other. Anyway, look, go through it and have a look. What I did is I remade all the thumbnails. So most of the thumbnails you see here are made by me on Photoshop with a little bit of advice from AI, but there are a couple that I got AI to make for us. When I didn't have one guest on with one particular photo, I thought I'll just ask AI to put together an image like this one. The AI ones are very much, you can tell you can tell these two are AI images. But to help it know what the images should look like, I showed it some of the ones that I had made previously for the Guitar Builders Collective, and they included photos of some of the people in the collective. Anyway, there was one thumbnail that it's made for me, which is about lutes over here on the right. And that lute picture, I'm sure you don't recognize it, Mark, but it's taken a picture of you playing guitar on our thumbnails, and it's created a Mark version of playing a lute. It's like you look like some Renaissance instrument luthier.
It's true.
I mean, does it look like you? Does it make you think you're looking in a mirror?
You know, if you squint your eyes, maybe it does look a little bit, but yeah.
Originally, I did ask it just to take all the thumbnails I had and try and make its own version of it. And oh my God, it just took our faces and put sort of like Temu versions of our faces up on the thumbnails. And it was slightly offensive, some of them. So yeah, I couldn't use those. But there we go. But yeah, please, look, if you're watching, please do give yourself a look through everything there and see if there's something you want to watch. I've just noticed there's no one chatting. So either my chat feed isn't working, or there's no one chatting, which is fair enough. Normally, when we've got this many people, I can see how many people are watching live. Normally, someone's in the chat.
Oh, Barry's there.
Barry's there. Is it coming up on your chat?
Only just now.
Oh, yeah, it's coming up. Sorry. There we go. Fantastic. Hello, Barry. Glad to know it's there. I only asked because one time we were streaming on the wrong channel and no one was chatting. That was why. I want to make out that we're professionals here. Hey, so like each week we've been trying to have a topic, but it seems really good to have a show and tell. And Mark, you've got a guitar you want to talk to us about.
Well, yeah. I was like, hey, I got a new guitar. Maybe I could just show and tell it. And now it's like it's on the thumbnail. I'm really embarrassed.
Thumbnail.
Yeah, so I got a guitar, and I'll take it out of the case. That's the case right there. It is an oversized case to make room for the Firebird because the Firebird's a very big guitar. And the whole thing weighs, it's just so heavy. I haven't weighed it yet, but it is so heavy. So I'm going to grab it real quick. Give me 1 second.
Sure. Just while Mark's doing that, a friend of mine has just bought a Thunderbird, an Epiphone Thunderbird. A Thunderbird is the bass equivalent of what Mark's going to show us, the Firebird. And he's trying to get it shipped from the person he bought it from. And the shipping's really expensive. And again, it's in an oversized case and it's really heavy. They gave me the dimensions, significantly heavier than most guitars I send in the post. Let's have a look there, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get you.
Oh, yeah. So this is a 2016 limited edition Firebird with the lyre tailpiece that was released in Japan and then somehow made its way back to the States, and now it belongs to me. So it went from Nashville to Japan to California to Texas. And what makes it, I guess, a little bit limited edition or different is that there's sort of like a combination of different like Firebird styles. And the first one is this one does not have the banjo tuners. This just has traditional Grovers. So you got the basic Grovers, but you do have the reverse headstock. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. I would prefer to have these Grovers than the banjo tuners. And it does have the neck through design. So a lot of Firebirds are just set necks. Like they don't build them usually like this. So this is a full-blown neck through, and it's got the multi-ply neck part. So there's like, I don't know, 9 pieces or something like that, and just walnut and mahogany. And it's a burst too. So it's got the burst. And then obviously it's got the lyre tailpiece. So very similar to like the 1963 Firebirds that had the lyre tailpiece. And I got it for a really great price. So obviously I got it used. It's a 2016. I got it for under market value. So this is not the original nut. This is a bone nut someone put in. I'm okay with that. Someone put in strap locks. These are Shaler's, and they didn't throw in the original strap lock, so I don't have the originals. And then for some reason, there's a chip on this knob here. So just a couple of little defects, but that brought the price way down, and I was able to pick this up.
So listen, we talked about this before. Sometimes you buy guitars because you're thinking of the value going up in the long run. But you've already said you've bought this guitar and the value is lower. So what are you thinking is going to happen to this one in the long run?
I'm not really thinking about this in those terms. I mean, I think obviously all Gibsons hold their value really well. This one may not really appreciate in value, but it is, again, a limited edition. And when Gibson calls things limited edition, I mean, there could be like 30,000 of them, right? We don't know the numbers. But it was a Japan-only combination of features. So like your Sweetwater has one very similar to this. It's basically a 1963, but it's like, $6,000. And it's got the banjo tuners. But this is basically, it looks like a 1963, but without the banjos. Yeah.
So just... you say it's a Japanese exclusive sort of layout, but was it built in Nashville? Is that what you said?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, built in Nashville, sent over to Japan, works its way back. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I often talk about the look of a guitar and how it's made and stuff, but I'm going to go straight in with a question that I see actual guitar reviewers talk about, which is how is it to play? What does it actually sound like? What does it feel like?
Well, everybody makes a big deal about the Firebird pickups, right? So these are not mini humbuckers, right? These are Firebird pickups. So mini humbuckers, which are the same shape, have pull pieces, right? So there's a one magnet and they have pull pieces. Firebird pickups have two blades, so two magnets, and they're just blades, no pull pieces. And it's supposed to sound somewhere between like a single coil and humbucker. That's not the case for these pickups. They just sound like humbuckers to me. I'm going to swap them out. So I'm going to obviously keep the originals in the case, but I am going to swap them out because I am on this new trend for like unpotted pickups. I mentioned this before in the past live stream. I really like the sound of unpotted pickups. So I'm going to put some Seymour Duncan antiquities in here, which are going to be originally spec'd Firebird pickups from like 1963, and they'll be unpotted just like they were in 1963. And that's really the only mod I'm going to do because it sounds fine now. It sounds great. I'm just spoiled like that. I want unpotted pickups.
Yeah, fair enough. You know what you like. If you're going to be playing it a lot.
But also, obviously, it's like this guitar has like attitude. Like this has got so much attitude. It's like so rock and roll. It's so cool. And I mean, it's just killer to look at. It's killer to hold. It's got that those thin wings. So very thin wings. Obviously, the center is raised. So you have that step there. But yeah, it's just a fantastic guitar. I mean, these Gibsons they feel great. The quality is amazing. They really don't compare to anything else.
And when you were flipping it around there, is the neck quite glossy at the back as well?
Yeah, it's all gloss. So this is all nitro, high gloss, and that 9-ply neck. Here's the Made in the USA stamp. Yep. But all my Gibsons are glossy, like every single one. And it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of requests when I'm making a guitar or refinishing guitar or working on a guitar to buff the neck back a bit, make it a bit more satin. But personally, when I play, until recently, and not that I play a lot, I've had no problem with glossy necks. Maybe, everyone sweats differently. Maybe it's how you feel when you're playing. But yeah, until recently, when I've been working more on oiled necks, I've not had a preference, but I'm really getting into my oil finish necks at the moment. I think they feel amazing. Alan, have you ever played a Firebird or like maybe an Explorer or something like that?
No, to be honest, I have not. I quite like odd-shaped guitars, so it's definitely more in my wheelhouse of what I'd like to have sort of long-term. But I'm also aware that I haven't got the money to be a guitar collector, and I can only play one at a time. So, and I haven't got the room for loads and loads of guitars. So I'm just sticking with the couple I've got. And then when I've built a couple and I think they're good enough to replace what I've got, I'll probably get rid of what I've got and then just keep with what I've built.
Do you know much, Mark, about when they were built in like the early 63 was when it first came out?
Yeah, so
what the target audience was, like what bands they expected to be playing them?
Well, I mean, the whole point. So like most of Gibson's history has been chasing Fender, right? So Fender was kind of like the new kid on the block, and they were considered sort of like the younger company that appealed to younger people, and they released the Jazzmaster, right? And so this is Gibson's basically kind of take on kind of taking some of that market share for the Jazzmaster. And so I suppose the audience would be, again, the players that wanted that sort of like forward design guitar that's offset with the kind of single coil like pickup. So that's their audience that they're shooting for. But like most of the Gibsons in this early golden era, it failed. So this was only out for 2 years. So 63 to 65, that's it. They only made 3,000 of these original Firebirds before they changed the shape. So they didn't do well.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And then Fender sued them too. So Fender had a lawsuit. They're saying, hey, your shape of the Firebirds are way too close to the Jazzmaster, which I don't see. I mean, obviously it's an offset guitar, but like there was a lawsuit. And so Gibson had to pivot in 1965. And that's when they come up with the non-reverse Firebird, which was which basically kind of looks more like a Mustang or a
photo photo share here. Here they are.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not an actual screen share. Let's do it like that. And the reason it's not is because I've got a book that I wanted to talk about. But yeah, so this was the
65, yeah.
But I thought I thought this kept going. I thought the Firebird kept going.
No, that's it. 2 years of production. Very similar to the Explorer. The Explorer failed too. Like the Explorer was out for like 2 years also.
Yeah, so that was what I'm saying. So so I've got this book. Alan's got it as well. We were just showing before. Guitar Family Trees. It's out of print as far as I know, but it's a brilliant book. But in it, it's got like pages about different guitars. And I'll just read a little bit of info from it, which is that the Ted McCarty designed these two, along with another guitar which never put in production. But I think they're only it says here they were only out for a year.
Yeah.
Before they were taken out of production, and the reason is that no one was buying them. Like they were having very few orders, and it wasn't until like in the 60s that people like Hendrix and the Kinks were playing them that they came back in. So it says here that I'm assuming all this is correct factually, that the Explorer came back in 1976 and the Flying V came back in 1967, having both been out in 1958 just for that year. But the description is that the Explorer is what led on to the Firebird, and that the Firebird is a direct kind of change onto that.
I would say sort of. Okay, so like the Firebird was designed by an actual real designer named Ray Dietrich, right? So Ray Dietrich came from the automobile industry, right? Ray Dietrich was trained at the only school in America for drafting and geometry of automobiles. Right, by his mid-20s, like this guy was like working for Ford, Chrysler. But he's basically started his own business at this point. He designed all the Packards, the Lincolns. And when you look at his like sort of really like Art Deco designs for automobiles, you get to then see where this came up with. So Ted McCarty, who was the CEO of Gibson at the time, he basically meets Ray Dietrich because Ray Dietrich had retired to Kalamazoo. So they're all in Kalamazoo. Ted McCarty meets him. He says, "Hey, I want you to design a guitar." Ray Dietrich says, "Yes, I'm going to do it." Ray Dietrich designs 9 wacky futuristic guitars. And then Ted McCarty picks this one as the one to actually put into production. And so there's a lot of weird things going on with this guitar, and you can really tell that it was really someone who was not a luthier, who didn't really know the rules of guitar. You know, that's the person that built this, right? And you can totally tell. And the other really cool thing is, yes, I think Ted McCarty provided Ray Dietrich with basically the specs: scale length, 22 frets. It's got to have 2 pickups. Probably gave him a couple of like designs from other companies to kind of mimic, and then he took it from there. But really, all he did was take the Explorer and round off basically the edges. But there's just so many other features the Explorer does not have that this one does have. And the big one is basically the neck through design, which Gibson had never done before this. I mean, that came straight from like the chassis of an automobile right there, like the idea of like the long foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I find fascinating is, actually got to get my head around this, is that both that and the Explorer have like the lower horn sticking out more. But it doesn't really get in the way that much when I play anyway. I don't do the right sort of playing where you need massive cutaways to get into the frets. But doesn't it, if you hold it up again, doesn't it still give you, it gives you access almost right to the very end anyway, really?
Yeah, so my hand's resting in the heel, and I'm on like the 21st fret with my pinky. Yeah. That's 21 right there. And like it's just, pretty
and
simple.
actually, when you look at the non-reverse one that they brought out a few years later, even though it doesn't have such a big lower horn, you still have that access. It's the same sort of access. It doesn't look any different anyway. I really don't like the look of the non-reverse one.
No, neither do I. But that's one of the complaints of the Firebird. One of the complaints of the Firebird is that the neck is pushed that way too much. So you have to actually reach for the first fret. So you do have all this access down here, but you have to kind of like reach to make that, that F.
I'm going to have to go through here again to remember, but I think SG Juniors are like that as well. There's a few Gibson models where it's almost like the neck is just the neck ends where the body starts almost.
Yeah,
There's not much overlap.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's brilliant, and because to me, it sounds like a brilliant thing for guitarists to do, to have access to all of that neck. But I appreciate you then have the slightly maybe longer reach, the different feel to when you're playing.
Yeah, it's for me, it's the same thing as an SG. Like the SG and the Firebird have sort of the same like neck location. And so it does kind of force you, like I'm usually always in like 10th position, like I'm the 10th fret. So that's naturally where my hand goes, like 10th position. When normally if you play like a Les Paul, it's pushed down and you're like, in 7th position or 5th position.
Yeah. So again, just holding up the pictures in the book, very high tech. The SG, like it almost, the fretboard ends where it joins the body, basically. And there's the first pickup. And I think that looks cool. I always feel like it's something redundant when the fretboard carries on too far. I don't know if you heard when you were picking up your guitar application just then, but a friend of mine's just bought a Thunderbird, which is bass version.
Also designed by Ray Dietrich. Yeah.
I mean, it's basically exactly the same, but
Absolutely.
It should be that way around, I guess. But he's having difficulty getting it shipped because it was in a big case and it weighs a lot more than anything else. One of the great things about this book is it has these little family trees where it shows the evolution of design and the years that certain guitars first came out and how they link together. And I can't get it out to show you on the screen because it's too big. That's what she said. But it's got things like this that fold out in it. So you've got the whole Gibson.
Oh, that is so cool.
Oh, it's brilliant. And then on the back, it's got all the serial numbers from different years. So you can look things up. So it's a good resource, this. Very good resource. So what made you buy it? Have you always wanted a Firebird? What was it?
Okay, so no. I do, at one point, years and years and years ago, I had a pretty decent Gibson, pretty respectable Gibson collection. And then I sold it all off. And I'm trying to kind of rebuild. I want to rebuild that collection. And so obviously I need one of every model. Like I got to have it, right? And so the way it works with me is I usually use Reverb. Reverb is a used gear marketplace here in the United States. Maybe you guys have access to it too.
Yeah.
Cool. And so what I do with Reverb is I set basically a saved search with a threshold of a price, and then I get a feed, right? So whatever I'm looking for, I set a brand new saved filtered search with my threshold for a price. And I'm looking for guitars that are under market value. And when I find one and I see one that's in the right sort of like threshold of price, I just buy it.
Right.
Even if because obviously I'm looking for every model. So like, for example, the next model that I want is a Memphis 339. The Memphis 339 is like the traditional 335, but smaller. So it's the one that Trent Reznor plays. It's just like it just looks cooler because it's just a smaller body, but it looks identical to a 335. So that's kind of the next one I'm really looking out for.
And is it the case with the way you're buying it then, that let's say one comes up, you buy it, but then in the future, one comes up that you prefer the look of? Like maybe it's a slightly better condition, slightly different finish. There's something different about it. Would you buy that and swap out?
Mm-mm. I don't think so. No, I think like for example, this one, like I already fell in love with it. I play it every single day, every single night. I'm like in the living room on the couch. I have an amp in the living room, and I have just a wireless, thingy. I love this guitar. I mean, it's my new guitar. Like, and then I'll probably forget about it in a month, and I'll have another new favorite guitar. It's just the way it works. But like, I love it. I'm not going to sell this one. This is going to be, with me for a while.
So how many more have you got to collect?
All of them. I don't know. I want an Explorer for sure. I don't have an Explorer. I think the V would be the last one I get because I'm not really into Vs. Like I said, I'm not really into the 335, but I wouldn't mind a 339 because it's a little bit smaller. Double cutaway Les Paul would be nice too. I don't have one of those. But
and how specific are you? So when you say let's say an SG, are you after an SG?
I have both models. I have the standard and I have the 61 reissue. So I already have two SGs.
Right. I was wondering if you go for all the variations of something. Yeah. And what about this one? That can't be cheap.
Yeah, no, it can't be. But no, I'm not really that interested in that. No. I want to be able to sit on the couch and play it.
Yeah, we talked about double necks last week. There's one here I like the look of, a Gibson Corvus. I've never seen one in real life.
Yeah.
This weird shape thing.
It is kind of strange.
So 80s, like it's proper 80s. That it looks like it should. It looks like it should have something that plugs into it. Well, I have a problem with Gibsons. Like if I look at these ones, I like this one. I feel like it was trying. It was from the 80s, maybe trying to look futuristic, but it looks historic because it's got this old wood look to it, and the old pick guards. It just doesn't do the thing that I think some other brands do when they're doing a futuristic thing. And that may just be back to what I've harped on about many times on this podcast or whatever it is we do, that when I first saw factory guitars with wood finishes like this, they're so boring, a lot of them. Like that's the most boring piece of wood I've ever seen. And it wasn't until I started seeing bespoke luthiers using interesting bits of wood that I started to like realize how great wood could be. It's different on your one, for example, because it's got the burst on it. The burst does something to it, I think.
But this is beautiful mahogany. Like a lot with Gibsons, sometimes it's like a lottery with your grain on your mahogany. I definitely won the mahogany grain lottery with this, so it's gorgeous. Like the back is just so beautiful.
Can you get it on screen a bit more?
I don't think the camera will pick it up, but I'll try.
No, probably
it's just
not.
So yeah. Like I mean, it won't really show through, but very pretty mahogany. No defects, like there's no like weird like knots or pores. And obviously the neck is beautiful too. But yeah, so like the example that you were showing in that book, that one on the top, that was alder, or
like
okay, that's Carina. Yeah.
That could be a bit plywood. I mean, it looks boring. So boring. But then I hate the Gibson Flying V. Anyway.
But keep in mind, they were out for 1 year, 58. Those things are so rare. And that's the other thing with these guitars. It's like they were failures, and then they became so rare and so sought after because they were only, available for a very, very short period of time. Same thing with the original bursts, like the Les Pauls. They were only available for 3 years. Like there's a reason why we lust after these guitars. In particular, those Carina, the Explorers, and the Vs, like those things are like very valuable.
Yeah. I don't doubt it. But then, as I would say, I like things because of how they look as much as other things, not exclusively, but as much as other things. And I just can't get into it. I just can't. But then, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Like one thing I do like about Gibson, which you can't really see here on these small pictures, some of the color choices they have when they spray the guitars. I love them. Like here, there's a Melody Maker bass, and it's got that kind of, I forgot what it's called, the sort of teal color to it. Mm-hmm. I love that. It's not racing green. I forgot what it is. Brilliant. Look, another one. Like this is like the color that the what's his name? Dave Grohl guitar is. Brilliant. Yeah. So I'm just looking in the chat. I haven't watched Texas Toast for a while, but apparently they've just done another one that.
That's got to be one of the ugliest guitars ever made.
Now that was, if I'm right, was that designed at the similar time as the Explorer and the Flying V, but never made, and then dug up later?
I don't know the history of the Moderne. Can you put up a picture? I'm not sure which one that one is.
Let me have a look on here.
It's got the ugliest headstock you've ever seen.
This one I'm going to actually do a... Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I'm pretty certain this was the one that was made at the same time, designed at the same time. Let's see if I'll get there. Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Like that again, I just think that's a crap bit of wood. That's my again, it's all subjective, right? It's all subjective. There we go. And also, I say these things about I don't think it looks modern. I think it looks like it's much more vintage than it is. But I'm looking at it 60 years after it was made. What goes through the mind of someone 60 years ago who hasn't seen all the guitars that have been built in the 60 years after that? That it probably does look super modern and amazing to them. I'm just not doing it justice at all, but yeah, I can't help it. I am where I am. I can just go through, like, I can literally go through this book and look at every Gibson guitar that they've picked, and it's just a crap bit of wood. There's another one. I do not like it. I mean, it's not going to show.
Well, that's the Nighthawk. Okay, so hold on, Daniel. To be fair, right, and in defense of Gibson, the ones that you pointed out are maple tops, right, or alder. Like,
Yeah.
I believe that mahogany is beautiful no matter what. Even the most boring piece of mahogany is really beautiful. And most of all SGs are mahogany, right? The back of the Les Paul is mahogany. That Nighthawk, that is just a semi-hollow or a hollow with a cheap maple top, and they colored those on purpose because they were probably terrible tops.
Yeah, totally. They should just spray them a thick color.
Right.
Look at this Les Paul. Like, I'm just gonna click on this. I appreciate the time that it was made, etc. Look at that. Like, no Luthi would book match like that. Yeah, bloody hell. But there you go. That's a 58.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. Maybe if they'd done them, if they'd done those Flying V's and Epiphones in a slightly better wood choice or colour finish, they wouldn't have been scrapped after a year, and then they wouldn't have had the value that they now have because of the rarity of them and the excitement that sort of went along seeing guitarists break out these guitars which no one else could get hold of 10 years later.
And 10 years later, it wasn't just about like what they looked like or the wood. It was about how they sounded. So like that's what happened with the Burst. Like when Eric Clapton played a Les Paul, Burst, it was about the sound. Like it was like, how is he getting those amazing thick warm tones, right? Same thing with the V's. Like when Albert King was playing them or whatever. Like, I mean, it's all about the players and all about the sound. And I think that's what inspired a lot of people.
Talking of which, just see if I can find it. Today I saw a BBC archive. I follow them on YouTube. They had a video up. I'll share it on the screen, but
Surrounded by this absolute forest of guitars. They're all shapes and
is the
sizes,
sound coming through this
and
time?
indeed all prices. They start with this Hondo down here, a snip at £79, and this rather vulgar version of it next door, which I should imagine hopefully will be a little bit less.
How long have you had it?
About 15.
Now, it might seem rather rude of me, but if you look at it closely, it does rather look...
So I won't show too much of it, but basically they've got a range of guitars they're talking about, and they're talking to two guitar. One's a guitar tech, one's a session guitarist. They're talking to them about the sounds you can get out of these guitars and why it's different. Because it's maybe 1984 is when this first aired, and I guess there's less literacy in how we understand how guitars work in their audience. So trying to explain how you can get the different tones from it all. So it's super basic, but it's demonstrating the variety of things. And then it goes on to have Midure with his brand new guitar synth, and he demos like terrible sounds out of it. But it's cool, right? So it shows these different things on it. But I find it fascinating because even then, he's got a guitar which he's had for 15 years, which is only 30 years old, and he's saying they don't make them like they used to at that point. He's talking about the quality of sound that comes out, and he's not sure why those early models were better than the 80s models are. Oh, sorry, Mark, you're muted.
I was going to say, what year is he describing as the guitar being the better sounding one? What era?
So they're in 1984. He's got a guitar where I can't remember the exact ages, but one was something like a 58 guitar, and the neck was a couple of years later, and they've been put together for some reason. He's not sure why. It's a guitar that's been played by a number of different people. I'm sure he said Buddy Holly. Could that be right? Maybe it was Buddy Holly.
Cool.
And it's like properly battered. Like when you see it close up, the pickups aren't in properly. They're like like they haven't bothered to fix them because presumably there's this nostalgia value of that's what's happened to it on stage, and they're trying to keep it like that. Yeah, and they also mentioned the price of the guitars at the beginning. They're super cheap, all of them. I mean, again, I don't really know what £300 was in 1984 money, but I'm sure £300 for a Strat, a 50 Strat, it wasn't a 50 Strat, it was an 80 Strat then, is quite good value. So, Mark, you were talking about your next aim. It was a Gibson. Are you just going down the Gibson route? You're blinker to all other guitars at the moment.
For the most part, yeah. I got a couple I need to sell to get rid of, and then you make some money off the sold ones, and you can buy another one. Just the way it works. It's just a rotating door here.
I've got to say, although I'm sagging off the Gibsons, I'm just flicking through the book, seeing like the gold top, and that free pickup, 3 humbucker black Les Paul, amazing. They're incredible things. I don't even really like Les Pauls, but there's something about those two that looks amazing. Like it looks like it's got history to it.
The gold top. Can you put the gold top one back up? Is that the one that does not have a bridge? It's just the tailpiece. Yeah.
Yes. Just the tailpiece.
Yeah. So those were hard to intonate, and that's why they kind of moved away from that after like 1 year.
Well, I've got quite a few books with guitars in it like this, and one of the ones I like, which I don't have handy, it takes different models, but it talks about the different guitarists that have played them over time. So it focuses more on the players than on the actual instrument per se, whereas this has got more about the history of the instruments on it. And I do quite love hearing or seeing the range of musicians that play the same guitar.
Yeah. What always fascinates me, like, I don't understand how a lot of these, American-made guitars made their ways to like England. Like, how did Eric Clapton and Jimmy Page get like 59 Les Pauls? Like, how was that even happening back then? Because I always hear the story about Billy Gibbons here in Texas getting his 59, right? And it was like an effort. Like he had to like drive hundreds of miles and like pay some guy that had one under his bed. And it's just always fascinated me how like all these American-made guitars ended up over there like easily.
Yes, I don't know that, but I do know that some bands, when they went to play in America, they had a lot of interest from guitar companies, like the Beatles with Hofner. When they first got to America, Hofner, whoever it was, the main, I guess, marketing guy at Hofner, or main luthier or the owner, just went and hung around with them a lot and gave them instruments to get them to play them on American television.
Nice. Okay.
Same with the Rickenbackers, they got that way as well. But I mean, after the war, there was a ban on guitars from the States. So that's why people were playing Burns. So a lot of the British bands started off playing Burns guitars because that was the only thing being made in the UK. But obviously, once you went to America on tour, just buy them when you're there, and I guess
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember seeing a band called Supergrass, who you probably don't know, Mark. I'm sure Alan remembers Supergrass. Seeing them at a festival one year when I was a teenager, and Gaz playing a Burns guitar, and it was the first time I'd properly seen a Burns guitar, and I was just totally blown away by the look of it, and that to me was like a rock star's guitar, because it didn't feel like a common guitar. So I can absolutely imagine what it could be like having like the early Firebirds out and it not lasting that long, and then how rare they become, and therefore how it becomes more of a thing, a unique thing that the rock stars are playing.
Yeah.
Nice. Right, well, look, it's bank holiday weekend here, but I'm annoyingly working tomorrow, so I've got to get up super early. But I am going to be taking my laptop with me on the train to do guitar things. I'm sure I'll be messaging some of the past guests from our Guitar Builders Collective and asking them, giving them the links to their videos and asking them if they don't mind sharing them. So if I could ask everyone that's watching again, just please just go and have a look at some of the past videos, not just because I want you to share them, which would be brilliant, but I want people to watch them because I'm quite proud of what we've done. I'm really proud of some of the interviews we've had, and some of the things that people have talked about I find fascinating. And it's a shame that they're just sort of, I've moved them over to this channel and they've been lost somehow. So it would be great if people could find them. Anyway, if you are watching, thank you because you're watching, which is brilliant. Yeah, next week we haven't got a topic. We'll probably find something out in the week. But if anyone is watching this and has an idea of something they want to chat about, just let us know in the comments below or message me. You can also find the Guitar Builders Collective over on Facebook and Instagram. We've actually there's the Jörg's Cup that the Guitar Builders Collective kind of initiated a few years ago, and this week has been the 3rd anniversary of the passing of Jörg. And what I want to do is take our we've got I think 4 or 5 videos that I haven't put up on this channel, which talk about past Jörg's Cup. So they are episodes where we've either gone through all the entries from it all or talked about Jürgen Zoller and his connection to us all. And I think it might be good to share those again. So I was thinking of putting those up, and I'll probably put them up over the next couple of weeks, like line them up one a week or something like that. I'm sort of trying to work it out in my head while I'm talking, so I'm a bit uncertain about the best way to do it. But if anyone's got a suggestion of the best way to get those out, because what I don't want to do is put them out there at the same time that this current Jörg's Cup's coming to an end or a new one starting, and it sort of to get confusing with the new thing that's happening. So yes, if anyone's got any suggestions, let me know. And on that confusing note, say goodbye everyone, and thanks again. Right.
Bye, guys.
Thanks Alan, thanks Mark, thanks everyone.